Good day and welcome to Data Patterns Q1 FY2024 earnings conference call hosted by Go India Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Shweta from Go India Advisors. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Seema. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Data Patterns India Limited earnings call to discuss Q1 FY2024 results. We have on the call with us Mr. S. Rangarajan, Chairman and Managing Director, Ms. Rekha Murthy Rangarajan, Whole-Time Director, Mr. V. Venkat Subramanian, Chief Financial Officer. I must remind you that the discussion on today's call may include certain forward-looking statements and must be therefore viewed in conjunction with the risks that company may face. A small request to the participants, please restrict your questions to 1 or 2 as we have strictly 1 hour to complete the call. I will now hand over to Mr. S. Rangarajan. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today for the Q1 FY24 results call. I hope you have had the chance to go through the earnings presentation, which is available on both the stock exchanges and on our website. Before my CFO, Venkat, takes us to the financial results, I would like to give you a quick rundown of some of the important updates and key highlights for this quarter. I'm pleased to announce another quarter of profitability, contributing to our company's sustained growth. Through our QIP, we successfully raised approximately rupees 500 crores for product development in areas such as radar, electronic warfare, and satellite technologies. This strategic focus on innovation positions us substantial revenue expansion across domestic and international markets in the coming years. Our order book during Q1 FY24 demonstrated remarkable growth of 113% year-on-year, reaching 967 crores. The order inflow soared to rupees 132 crores, representing noteworthy 2.9x year-on-year increase. In Q1 FY24, we secured several significant orders, about 357 million for radars and electronic warfare about 362 million from the RDO. Moving to the financial overview, our revenue from operations surged by an impressive 31% year-on-year. Gross margin remained robust at 62%, and EBITDA exhibited a commendable growth of 31% year-on-year. Defense sector in India continues to be a significant focus for government. The current union budget has allotted rupees 5.94 lakh crore to bolster the defense sector, signaling a notable 13% year-on-year increase. Further, the Ministry of Defense has set an ambitious target of achieving a turnover of INR 1.75 lakh crore within the aerospace and defense manufacturing sectors by 2025, which includes export targets of around 35,000 crores. In support of the domestic defense industry, the government is actively fostering an environment of transparency, predictability, and improved ease of doing business through the establishment of a robust ecosystem and supportive policy measures. Keeping the sectoral tailwinds in mind, we have outlined our strategic priorities over the next 2 years. Capitalizing on promising opportunities in radar, electronic warfare, and satellite markets, greater expansion into export markets, actively pursuing various prospects in collaboration with domestic competitors, active participation in contracts for about 20 to 30 billion over the next 3-4 years, concentrated efforts aiming at achieving top-line growth of 20 to 30%, and a sustainable high margin between 35 to 40%. At this point, I'll pass the floor to Venkat for his comments.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to report outstanding performance in Q1 FY24. Let me provide an overview of financial results which are as follows. Q1 24 Revenues demonstrated a robust year-on-year surge of 31% and stood at 89.69 crores. Development contracts contributed to 39% of the revenue and production contracts to 54%, showcasing our diverse revenue stream. Additionally, service contracts accounted for approximately 7% of the Q1 revenue, emphasizing our comprehensive earnings. We successfully maintained gross margins at a healthy 62% in line with our guidance. The profit before tax stood at 348 million, up by about 80%. Our profit after tax recorded a remarkable 82% increase, reaching to 258.6 million. Our prudent financial management practices have led to a debt-free balance sheet, highlighting our commitment to financial sustainability. We continue to target a working capital cycle of approximately 294 days on TTM basis, ensuring operational efficiency. As of June 30, 2023, the company holds over 364 million in cash and equivalents, underlining our financial stability and liquidity position. Overall, we delivered a strong performance in Q1 and have set a positive momentum for the year ahead. With this, we will now proceed to the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Thank you. We take the first question from the line of Umesh Raut from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Congratulations for the good set of numbers. My first question pertains to your remark regarding large value tenders with MOD under MEC 1 and MEC 2 categories, which are under process and that you are targeting to kind of explore. So could you please highlight or share some details about those tenders, which are these programs, and how soon we can realize these opportunities?
The MEC 1 and MEC 2 tenders, quite a few are in publication. We are addressing a number of them which are relevant to us in our point of business, like radars, communications, some in EW, some in satellites. So we are trying to address those questions. There are quite a lot of them. And in all of them, what happens is that once you participate in them, you need to actually build a product, demonstrate the product, go through the evaluation criteria, and then the tender processing starts after that. So it's a slightly longer duration. So this is why we can't at this present moment, I can't disclose the number of contracts we're really addressing because there is no value proposition to the contract at the present moment. We have to showcase product, build the product, go through the process. But these will lead to large businesses if we win such contracts and the product works. The differentiation, what we want to do is, we're trying to largely look at these kind of MEC 1, MEC 2 programs where a lot of the development work is done in-house in data patterns. If we do that, there's a likelihood that our cost model is lower and maybe our price is more attractive and competitive. That's what we're aiming. The second part, what we're doing is, we've done a lot of work with DRDO, and most have been designed as building blocks. We try to reuse the building blocks to address the development requirements. This has two effects. One is the development cost is spread around. We're not really redoing the development, so our access to this MEC 1, MEC 2, our cost model becomes lower. Point two, the time to develop also is reduced because we're reusing some of the products developed. Point three, the quality also is better because it's being time tested. So this is the kind of approach we're taking with largely Indian or in-house developed products to address these markets. As and when something fructifies to a reasonable level where we can put a number to this contract, I will be able to disclose them to you.
Understood, sir. So my question on the same thing is, what could be the competition for us in these tenders? And basically, if I talk about in-house R&D spending that you are planning to do, then what it could be? And at the same time, are you exploring any foreign tie-up or technology transfers, and how these things can kind of firm up from your side going forward?
The competition essentially is from Indian large companies, and some are proposed in a smaller positions of startups, so largely larger organizations. Most of them have tie-ups with some foreign OEMs because we need to have products to demonstrate here. Of course, Make 2 talks about a lot more value addition in India, but there is some portions can get imported or transfer technology can happen. So competition is there. It is varied. It's not that all of them compete in all programs or products, but there will be competition. The differentiators, again, as I said, is we try and do more in India to be more competitive. As regards to the second part of the question, we're trying to build only ourselves and also look at tie-ups with foreigners. Sometimes we would do tie-ups with foreigners because if there are allied or different technologies involved, and it doesn't make sense to develop the technology within a short time frame, and involves too much development expense, which may not be practical or very high risk, then we will see that if we can tie up strategically with some organizations who have the products, so then we can try and do that. We are thinking on some similar lines in some programs, but in programs, most of the programs they try to go alone. So that is where it is. I know it's a very early stage in all Make 1, Make 2 programs. None of them have really been concluded and come into real demonstration stages yet. So I think we need to wait another year or so before we get more data on all this.
Understood, sir. My second question is more of on the larger platform or programs like AMCA or IMRH, where currently ADA is doing more of development at a national stage, but they are kind of now open to have more and more participation from the private sector. So are you looking to target some of these large opportunities in, say, next medium to longer term?
Yeah, we are already there in LCA, the cockpit display submission systems. And LCA Mark 1A, our RWR, the radar warning receivers at a flight test. So there are some programs we already participate in. Going ahead, on AMCA also we will participate in some of the avionics as part of our existing programs. And similarly in NCRH, as and when the tenders come out, we will participate in them. We do a lot of avionics. And then the reuse of your cockpit displays across helicopters. So we expect that we should position ourselves properly in those programs. India, we've been importing till now. We're building our avionics with IP from their partners. We like to position those things also. So wherever opportunities are there in large programs, we will probably do that. As and when the opportunity gets, clear in the sense that AMCA is saying strategic partner model and things like that. In case these kind of things were to happen, we would also look at aligning ourselves with platform vendors to see if we can get a better value proposition. Yes, we are looking at those opportunities, and as and when it becomes real, we will address those opportunities.
Thank you so much, sir. All the best. I'll join back with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Dipen Vakil from InCred Equities. Please go ahead, sir.
Congratulations on the set of numbers. So I have my first question is basically on expecting or other trials were happening in Brown for the Brown. So any updates on that? So
I'm unable to hear you. Your voice is breaking.
Sir, I mentioned in last conference call, we mentioned that there will be an update on the seekers from BrahMos in next 2 to 3 months. So any update on that?
I think the BrahMos seeker is about to get flight tested anytime. We're not very sure exactly in the next few weeks. It's still in that stage. The moment flight testing is over, we'll be able to announce this. But the program is on, it is current, and they're expecting to do a flight test very soon.
So do we expect its order in this financial year?
I can't. First important is to get this flight tested and see that it is operational properly, meets all the design criteria and the operation criteria. Once that happens, BrahMos has indicated the requirements, but how exactly it's going to come, I'm not very sure now. We don't have an inquiry at the present moment, so I can't talk on behalf of BrahMos. But yes, we are in line with the requirement, meet the requirement if it were to happen this year. We hope it happens this year. But first, the flight test has to happen.
Sure. So, and second is on the capex front. So, this year, is there any capex that we are planning to do, and what kind of capacity utilization will be there in our existing facilities?
Yeah, answer the second question first. See, we have manufacturing capacity because on the electronic production, we have a pick and place and an AMS, non-automatic AMS line. We already have this. Now we also put a second line so that we can actually double the capacity. So we won't have a capacity issue with respect to production of electronic PCBs and some such products. But what really happens in a business which we are in defense and aerospace, especially since we do a wide variety of electronics, the types are very many and the quantity per type is low, and that is true of defense all over the world. So we need a high mix. Very complicated high mix, low volume kind of production. But we need to do it in an automated fashion. We have all the infrastructure. What really happens when a capacity constraint comes, when the different types of products and quantities start coming in, we need to actually test and produce them. The testing, evaluation, how can we integrate test actually takes time. So what we do in a situation like that is, we create a test line as and when the contract happens, as part of the contract itself. We have lines established already for various kinds of products. We need to duplicate the lines when the production happens, which can be done as part of the product, which is not going to really affect performance or delivery status. The second part we have done is, from the box build, there is the modules build, which is electronic boards with boards and systems we build. We now want to graduate to end systems build. For example, large multi-ton radar, equipment mounted on trucks. These kind of things, when you do, we didn't have the existing infrastructure, could not support such integration activities. So before we went IPO, we borrowed money and then started building of our own buildings and hangar space, etc., and clean room facilities to enhance the kind of production integration infrastructure we needed. That is now in place. We have a very large infrastructure for integrated system development. So this is the second thing we've done. This has been done more towards addressing future requirements. We have taken money from market. We want to build big products. We need to be able to produce and demonstrate those products. We need to have infrastructure to create that infrastructure also. So it's a very forward-looking infrastructure development, which is what we are doing. And that's what's happening now. So we are okay with if it is 1,000 crore order, we can produce 1,000 crore. It depends on the mix of contracts. That again, we will say, depending on the contracts we deliver, we will configure the CapEx. Coming to the first part of the question, I think we have planning to spend another 20 odd crores for CapEx this year, and we also taken QAP money for some product development, and for that also some CapEx requirement will be there. And that will be spent in line with the development, how the maturity development model happens, and what product testing we need to have, and what CapEx is required. We will take it to our board meetings, board approval, and go through the process.
Question on mainly, so which major order?
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir. We are unable to hear you, Mr. Dipen.
So I was asking that which major programs that will be participating in this year? Any idea of which are upcoming FY2024?
I'm unable to hear you. Your voice is very...
Sir, I'll join back with you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to all the participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. We take the next question from the line of Aarti Rai from Equentis Wealth Advisory. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. The first question would be around the margins. So just wanted to understand, we have sustained a 60%, which is in line with the previous quarters. And with the EBITDA margin, where generally the guidance was of about 40% and was there in the last 2 quarters. This quarter has come out at around 30. And even in the initial remarks, we did mention at an outlook of 35 to 40. So are we looking at slightly bringing it down at 35? I mean, since the sustained margin guidance earlier was 40 and now we're speaking of around 35.
Okay. See, ours is not a quarterly driven business. And we are, 3-4 years back is very highly last quarter driven. We have managed in the last 2 years to, address that and make it somewhat more equitable to quarter. But still, the business goes towards last quarter and slightly peaked. So quarter 1 is slightly lower, quarter 2 goes up, quarter 3 goes up further, and quarter 4 is the maximum. This is how it is being, and I expect also to be this year, unless we do something different. So from that perspective, as long as gross margin remains common, around 60-65%, your EBITDA margins will be around 36 to 40%, which is what the guidance given. As regards the first quarter, why is 30% and not 40%? Is there a concern which you're asking? I don't think there should be concern because the expenses are average every quarter is the same, and whereas the turnover proportional to the overheads and expenses is lesser and becomes more as you go along. Because of that, maybe the percentage seen is coming lower, is what you're seeing. But it's in line with the first quarter estimate. If you look at first quarter of previous year, it would be actually on the same EBITDA level percentages. So it is in line with the percentages quarter to quarter comparison. But you should not compare Q4 EBITDA with the Q1 EBITDA because the search revenue is much lower. The same kind of price.
Okay. Thanks. And my second question would be to understand from an order book perspective, I do see that development orders kind of stand at more than 60% and the rest will be in production. So would it be possible to give some color on how much of it is own product? That's where you mentioned the margin is also higher and you're moving towards that. So from the order book presently, I mean, how much would it be from the own products vis-a-vis otherwise?
This year we should get more contracts from older developed products. See, there is one thing. See, I don't agree with the statement that production orders will have better margins than development contracts. What really happens in development contracts is that we spend a lot more development money. The gross margin may be similar. I don't think we do a gross margin lower in development than in production unless there is it's very order specific. So I would not say the same thing is applies across the board. Across the board, the margins remain same. But what really happens is we spend a lot more man-hours and overheads are spent during development, which is not there during production. That's what really happens. And the value proposition numbers are, the overall revenue model also is much higher during production than in development. So that helps in the overall yearly kind of numbers. Having said that, this year our expectation is we should get more of the so-called production contracts or repeat contracts on products already delivered earlier is what we expect. They are obviously participating in tenders. The outcome of tenders is not visible. So what is visible to us, which we can take what we talked as pipeline, is based on order contracts earlier developed and expected production.
Okay. Just to understand as a percentage, how much of this current order book would be coming from your own products? So while you said it is repeat, just to understand, because the idea is development and production, we are doing separately. But how much, as you mentioned, because that's where you're saying the margins are higher when you do it yourself on your own product. So would be able to possible to give a bifurcation there of the order book?
Yeah, see,
is what I was trying to understand.
The margins doesn't differ for production and development. Development takes more expense in terms of development cost, in terms of manpower overheads, but not on the gross margin which you're talking about. Again, I'm repeating this.
Okay.
And of course, it's also definitely it is meant on the amount of competition, what are the competitors, etc. So that is going to be margin going to define. And today, what we have, I'm telling you again this year, get the production orders is what we believe. The exact number I'm not able to tell you right now, but as we go along, the expected is going to be most based on what we've done many years back. Production orders will come.
Okay. Just the last quick question from the current order book that we have of more than 1,000 plus. Some understanding on how much would be executed this year and possibly what would be next year?
I think a large portion of the current order book will execute next year. Maybe about 20-25% will execute this year. And the larger percentage will probably get executed next year.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Expecting some more contracts for execution this year.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side for now.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Satadru Chakraborty from Chakraborty Family Office. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. Congratulations on a good quarter. My first question is really something happening in your P&L statement, the other income. Can you help me understand the year-on-year and the quarter-on-quarter change, just to make some sense on what exactly is happening on that part?
The other income essentially is on cash deposits and interest on deposits. I mean, maybe Venkat, you could answer that.
Yeah. The other income actually this time it is high because of the bank deposits and mutual fund investments that we have made based on the our cash flows and the QIP money that we have paid. So that has contributed for the other income. Other income also includes on a very granular level. Other income also includes some small foreign exchange gain and things like that. But largely it is the bank interest and earnings out of the mutual funds.
Okay, so it is fair to say that this is mark to market. That's why this sudden jump, right?
Yeah, largely kept in the bank deposit. So that's all income earned already. As regards mutual funds, yes, based on market.
Okay, very helpful. The second question I had was really on the Dornier upgrade program. I mean, you have mentioned a lot in the presentation around that. So can you shed some light on where exactly is the government of India on that, and what exactly are we doing? Which components are we activating to sort of service this project if and when it comes through?
We have a couple of projects from DRDO on the Dornier upgrade program, which is under development now. One is to build a radar, the hardware for a Dornier radar for a American patrol radar. The second is for the electronic surveillance measures, so EW systems on this. The EW is already based on what's already developed for DRDO, and it's a modified product required for Dornier. The radar itself is a new development which has come to us. The very tight timeline of maybe less than 10 months to build the radar. Both we are on the job, and we expect to complete the development in time as they're required by Navy with new time schedules, which is jointly work with DRDO. We expect to do this. Once it's completed and delivered and executed, expected that a few more aircrafts, maybe 10, 20, 30, depending on the requirement for both Coast Guard and the Navy. Aircraft upgradation will be given to HAL, and once these are qualified, they should buy from us. This is the expectation.
All right. Thank you so much, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Dipen Vakil from InCred Equities. Please go ahead, sir.
Follow-up opportunity, sir. So I wanted to know the kind of fighting was in FY2024 and mainly for mainly on
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. We are losing your audio, sir.
The audio is breaking. I'm not able to understand what you're saying, unfortunately.
Hello.
Yeah.
So my question is on the execution period of our order book. So mainly, how long does it take for our service orders? Like, is it 12 months? And the developmental and the production orders?
Our existing order book, I think we will exhaust this order book this year and next year. It will be executed in the next 2 years. All orders which we have almost 95% will be executed between these 2 years. We're also expecting additional contracts for the execution this year and some for next year. That is also in pipeline. But the execution is less than 24 months.
Okay, execution period 24 months. Okay, got it. And major funds that are there in order flow in FY24?
What is that, please?
Major programs. So which programs are expected in FY24?
I don't want to get into program level. Earlier we talked about all this, but I'm expecting some EW programs to happen. Some avionics, we expect contracts to happen, and some in radars. So these are 3 areas where we are expecting contracts. Shortly, maybe we'll start getting inquiries, and we should finalize in the next quarter to 2 quarters. We expect some contracts to happen. And it's on schedule. Things are happening. So I think we should get the orders in the next 2 quarters.
And our order guidance of 700 crores is still on track, or do we want to change it?
I think upwards of 500 crores we should get. So 700 is what we would like to have. So we will wait and watch the next 2 quarters what really happens. If there's going to be any change or shift or delays in the order, I don't think we will lose the order, but there may be delays. We are waiting and watching when it's going to happen. But as of now, we believe it will happen as planned.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. All the best for FY24.
One more thing maybe is also we are also looking at some export contracts this year to Europe and to South Korea. So we've got some orders from Europe already. And we are going to expect more orders from Europe coming in the next month or so, and also from Korea. So some of the orders for this is a full system product developed in India. It's probably will be NATO country. So we're expecting some contracts. I don't want to say the level of value of contracts where we're doing right now. But it will happen as then we announce.
Thank you, sir. That was really good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to all the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. We take the next question from the line of Mr. Akshay Kothari from Envision Capital. Please go ahead, sir.
And thanks for the opportunity. So just wanted to know, since we mentioned that 25% of the total order book execution would only be done in this year, does it mean that we would end this year also with a good cash balance, or would it be going in our inventory?
I don't understand the question.
Yeah. See, actually, our cash balance will be high only even towards year end. It will not be going towards inventory build-up. Inventory actually last few years because of the COVID scenario and non-availability of certain components due to COVID, we were actually stocking ahead of the schedule. But by and large, it is streamlined now. We are getting the material on time according to our requirement. So we don't expect much of inventory build-up, resulting in reduction of balances.
Because in the next year, your growth would be very much higher. So in that case, during the year-end time, would there be also we would be ending with some 500 crores plus of cash this year itself?
We can't officially, we can't predict a value now, but our cash balance would be good enough. It will not be so low. It will definitely be on a larger value proposition only. But at present, I cannot answer 500 crores, 600 crores kind of a number.
Okay, no problem on that front. So which brings me to my next question is, did we do the QIP of a higher amount, or did we do the QIP of ahead of its time, is my question.
No, let me explain that. See,
okay.
We are getting into some major development programs.
Mm-hmm.
And it is prudent to see that the cash is taken and put separately aside to see that we funding the program properly. It's not good to take as you want kind of money because raising it from public. And what we are advised by our board is to raise it so that we have the cash in hand and address the markets. Because we can't keep going to the market again and again. So I don't think we have done either taken higher or lower. People wanted us to take higher amounts. We said that we don't want higher amounts. We have very clearly, we have clear idea how much we want to spend in the next 2 years and what programs we are spending it. So we've taken the optimal amount. The cash is useful in the sense that we know the financial closure is happening. We have a clear idea how we want to spend the cash in product development, and I think we're taking the right amount. I don't think we've done anything wrong. It's given a lot of confidence to the company and to people inside to say that we go ahead boldly to build products. It's a very different initiative. Normally people don't do product development in India. They'd rather go abroad and the products available abroad, buy them, take them there, and then do manufacturing here in a partnership with them. We have gone on a very bold kind of opening because India is opening out to Indian companies now. And I think we need to make a difference. We want to be like a foreign OEM in India. And our competition is, we believe, must be foreign, not Indians, because none of them have products here. We want to actually build the products and compete with the foreigners and foreign OEMs in Indian context. So the Indian context is opening up for large markets. So I think we're doing the right thing, and we're very convinced that we're doing the right thing. And we're going very boldly with number of programs are going to be developed on this. And we hope that this turns out well. Because if this does well, then we can scale the company not 20-30%, but substantial scaling can happen in the next 3 to 4 years. This is what we want to do. The market size is large. Addressable market is large. And we need to have the addressable market with products. Once we do this, I think the percentage can be much larger because we're very, very niche areas where the high IP content is going to be there. And that's where we are really competing and putting a product development effort. We have more than nearly about 700 engineers working with us. We're not just doing only taking money. We're also creating infrastructure with that. We're also building people because you can't build people overnight in these kind of high technology, high IP areas. This has to be done over a period of time. We have done in-house training programs. We have rehauled our HR processes, our people in HR. We've done a lot of things to reorganize our company in line with what the board has been advising us to do. So it's a very inclusive kind of growth which we're trying to do inside. So I think we are doing the right thing. We are very convinced of what we're doing at the present moment.
Okay, sir. That helps. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of C.A. Garvitkul from Invest Analytics. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, firstly, to understand on this skewness in order execution. So Q4 is usually the best for us, which is mainly due to more skewed orders execution for the contracts. But my question is, why does that happen? Why can't these contracts be executed in first 3 quarters? So kindly help me to understand that, sir.
See, all the programs, it's not a running manufacturing contract. It's not like a vehicle I produce in shop floor, keep producing so many pieces per. These contracts are custom built, meaning built to type, few numbers, go through a lot of qualification time. And there are 2 things there. The contract takes, once you get a contract, it takes a year and a half, sometimes 6 months to actually execute the contract. So there is timeline for execution also is large. Second is there is third-party inspection for these contracts. This is QA agencies, third-party QA, they come through qualification process, clear every stage of production and acceptance. So that also takes time. It is sometimes not controllable by us when they come to inspection. So there is some timeline gap with doing that. So in development contracts, it takes a lot of time because integration aspects come, the user-defined systems comes into picture. So generally what I'm saying is a number of reasons why the timeline for execution is large. So coming back to the first question, having understood this part, then the second part is when the customer wants the product to be delivered. This is not in our control to say when it has to be delivered. So there is a requirement of delivery model which happens with the customer. They have a yearly delivery. They want it. So some of them get pegged with the delivery dates which they want. And point number 4 is, government businesses typically gets, bunched up towards year-end on budgets, acceptance, etc., and also they push for year-end delivery as part of customer pull also happens during that time. And the first 6 months, 9 months, there is not much pull. The push which we do may not be actually, catered to. It goes to the pull rather than a push. We can't push customers to accept. It becomes a bit lackadaisical in the government business. The combination of these things has traditionally made this way. We are trying to iron out as much as possible to make it a leveled business. We've achieved actually something very good compared to what we were doing 3-4 years down the line. And we are attempting to do more as we go along. But this will be a government business. It typically tends to be a 4 different business.
Understood, sir. That helps. And sir, you mentioned out of the existing order book, around 20 to 25% will get executed this year. But at the same time, we are saying we will achieve a top line growth of 25% to 30% in this year. So how it is likely to happen, sir? Like means such a low percentage of execution from the existing order book. So how we will achieve that 600-650 CR kind of top line this year, sir?
Actually, I was just generally speaking 25-35. I'm not gone to order level to see. We have a schedule worked out quarter to quarter what we want to do, and we are given a projection to the board, and a budget is made based on it. If you open it, I can give you a proper answer. It may not be good, it may be 40% also. I'm giving probably should not give this improper number. But having said that, I know what my budget for this year is. That is very clear and written in clear on stone, quarter to quarter what we told the board. So from that, I'm saying we will do this top line growth and a bottom line growth, which is clear in my mind. If you're able to execute a bit more of this year's requirement to do something more this year, then it will go up. We don't expect it to go down from whatever estimates are given you. There's a likelihood of going up but not going down.
We also mentioned that a few more orders are expected for current year execution. That's also
that's also there.
That will also get executed this year only. Some part of it.
Yeah, we are expecting some contracts to come, which can be executed. We are preparing ourselves for the execution and waiting for the contract to happen.
So that means 650-700 kind of top line is achievable this year, right?
No. I have not. I said 25 to 30% growth only. No, so suddenly.
Okay, right. No, actually, you also mentioned earlier, 30% bottom line growth will be there. So in that sense, 30% bottom line.
There are two parts. One is top line growth, second is bottom line. See, this year I expect our margin profile to slightly, based on the contracts executing this year, our gross margin percentage on the margins are slightly better because a lot of developed products are coming just of integration. The margins will go up. So that is why the kick-in bottom line can be slightly better than last year, is what I'm expecting. And as we go along the year, we'll be able to fine-tune as we go along. So that is what I'm saying. And the second portion is on the top line growth. When we went to CAP also, we made that we are looking at a 35 to 40% year-on-year growth. But that is not on a year, means every year I'm not talking. I'm talking a 3-4 year cycle. To look at a likely medium-term growth, I think a company will do 40% year-on-year is what I'm expecting to do. At least we have a vision to do this, a mission to do it. And we're looking at some contracts which will happen, will scale us, and also the product development we're doing will help us scale the revenues multiple times is what we're expecting.
But we are currently maintaining our guidance as regards to revenue growth to 25 to 30% year-on-year.
And sir, you mentioned about the participating in large value contracts like Make 1 and Make 2. So can you please spend a few minutes on explaining how the business model will differentiate from the existing one that we are dealing with the DRDO, and how it will be like in Make 1 and Make 2 contracts, sir?
See, we started our life with DRDO, built products with DRDO, and that is giving us repeat production. That continues to be one of the business arm and markets for us, which we work very closely with DRDO, and we do product development in India. But the bigger markets are going to be when MOD buys directly. Some of them goes because of product developed with DRDO, they go on a limited procurement from HAL and BEL and such public sector. They become our customers and the production order happens. But the larger business is when they buy direct. And that they are buying direct from foreign OEMs. Today that is getting ordered with Indian participation in that business. If people again tie up with foreigners, that is going to be a very, very large business. Multiple times the size of business we do with DRDO. So naturally, when we have a product competency and a capability, we need to address the market to build sustainable growth and also visible growth to be scalable, which is what we are addressing to do. So Make 1, Make 2 is one such opportunity, because it's not just all of Make 1, Make 2. There can be IDDM, buy Indian IDDM, that kind of things are there. So there are many categories on which MOD floats tenders. We will be addressing all those tenders. Make 1 and Make 2 are one of the arms of the tender which will participate. But all of them we want to participate to look at scaling business substantively in the next 3-4 years' time.
And sir, margin profile is likely to be stable, like margins in these contracts, right?
I would normally not compromise margin because we want to be an IP-driven organization, and we've refrained from taking contracts which is on very low margins on a production build kind of contract. Repeatedly, we've never taken contracts like that because we didn't want to spend our manpower and company focus on low margin production type orders because that will redirect us from our mission of building IP in India and building full systems. So all these years we have refrained from doing it. So today also we would like to do this, but there are some contracts which is strategic in nature, where if we do a contract, though the margin because of competition is low, I think we need to take this because this gives a foundation of future growth, which will compensate all the pain which we're going through in the initial years. So from a longer term perspective, we may look at a lower value proposition, lower margin contracts as we go along, because that will be necessary to build end systems and complete systems where integration also is necessary. If I don't take the contract, our electronic subsystem there, the IP is there, may also not come to us. If we don't take the overall contract, the product integration happens. So in such situations, we have taken a step back, looked at it and the future of the company and the growth model of the company, and there is going substantial business coming in. We may have to compromise on the overall margins, and this is the right thing to do in our mind, so we've done that. We're doing some programs like that. But largely, yes, we would, especially when electronic systems are concerned, where IT is done by us, I think it will be a lower bottom line driven kind of business, which is what we like to do. And that we are trying to do with more development in India, no value addition in India rather than buy and integrate. That is our model.
This is and sir, lastly, can you spend...
Mr. Goyal, may we request you to join the question queue, sir?
Okay, I'll join the question.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all the participants in the conference, please limit your question to 2 per participant. We'll take the next question from the line of Gagan Thareja from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. So the first question is around the order pipeline that you indicate. I hope I'm correct if I term it as order pipeline. You indicate 2,000 to 3,000 crores, over the next 3-4 years or 4-5 years. Is that tender that you'll bid for, or is that the orders that you expect that you can win? I'm a little confused there.
See, we have developed a lot of products with DRDO. They can be EW in terms of Alliance and Command Systems, ground and airborne. They can be radar warning receivers airborne. There's some comm systems we have done for communication. They're also building some radars. Part of the radars we're doing with DRDO. So then we built some avionics for ADA and some NCA and helicopters, etc. So all of them, they're going into some production mode. When they go into production mode, the repeat orders, when the production happens, automatically it becomes a single vendor situation. As of now, there is a policy in Government of India because they're qualified vendors and there is no competitive. We've gone through a competitive profile, built one contract in a competitive mode and delivered the product which is certified. So when I talk this 2,000-3,000 crores, I'm talking about repeat contracts of those products already delivered and developed and delivered, which we expect repeat orders to happen. The timing varies, but these are the kind of pipeline. That is why I call it a pipeline rather than a tender-oriented business.
Okay. But what are the platforms with which these, radar warning receivers or alien and command equipment or software defined radios are associated with? Because what happens is, if the platform, for example, if something is associated with LCA Mark II, and tomorrow the Indian Air Force, says we want an MRFA of 114 aircraft, because the Mark II is delayed or whatever, it puts a spanner in the works of that platform, and then obviously also, some of the prospective pipeline for you either gets delayed or goes away. So it would help if you could, give us some idea of what are the platforms with which these equipment are associated.
Yeah, we are very aware of what you're saying, and it's factual that we no control and things may change tomorrow. So when I talk to you, we try to remove such programs from our radar, and we remove the numbers from those LC Mark II. Now, I don't have a projection. We don't put a projection Mark II because the Mark II is announced now, but what will be good in, how will the production will happen, timelines, we're not very sure. The numbers, what happens, we're not very sure. So we also remove that from our projection for our board. To very broadly talk about it, there are some upgrade programs happening on fighter aircrafts. We want to position ourselves on the upgrade programs, participate in this. Working modern RWR, developed with DRDO, very, very modern, internationally, comparable products. So we expect something to happen there. Now we participate, like one of the questions asked was Dornier. We participate. Dornier upgrade, some systems are going to go. These are all fairly high-end systems, and we expect the next 5-6 months' time they should go through flight test and qualify. We expect to qualify the products which are designed are world class, so we don't expect there to be a problem. So this is to get qualified and done, and then requirement on Dornier is immediate. Already the RFP or something, he's talking to, and Coast Guard is doing discussion with KLS. Back to back we should get. There are products like Ashwini radar. We've done almost all the electronics. We expect the RFP from anytime, and once that happens, we want to participate in this. There's a larger contribution in this. Then we of course there's a favorite course. There are other programs like this where they participated earlier, and we've done research in plain CW. We're dealing with the Darashakti project. It's going to be an SNF program is supposed to get announced. We have the initiative which has been awarded to Bell. We expect something to happen. Some order which has gone to Bell for Arudra. We expect something to happen. So it's a structure of projects like this, which we have some visibility, and the timing is, of course, and the value proposition is not very clear. As soon as the tender happens, and we hope we'll have a clarity on that. So that's why it's simply with 2004 kind of a numbers. And what we are trying to do with the QAT money, try to build on those kind of areas, truly world-class products, which makes it unique in certain areas and gives us flight tested once there. We believe that we should be very seriously considered by Air Force and Navy, and such requirements are there. So this is further propellants is what we're looking at. But whatever pipeline I'm talking about is what we've done earlier. And nothing to do with new programs like LC Mark II, which is all new programs.
Okay. Got it, sir. And associated to that, I mean, there is definitely more sort of certainty or clarity around introduction of light utility and light combat helicopters, because HAL has already built the Tumkur facility, and these are very substantial in number. I think 300 to 350 odd helicopters, and you already do certain amount of avionics for helicopters. So is it possible to give us some idea that whether you are in the fray for doing a certain amount of work here, and also elaborate to whatever degree possible on what it could be?
We already did the cockpit display for LUH. They're considering some portion of the LUH is also being planned for LCH. They're also looking at some options for the NCRH on them. LUH also looking at some displays for us is under discussion. LUH already we are one of the only supplier on the cockpit displays. We continue to get contracts. We have an order, which probably will exceed this quarter. Supposed to exceed last quarter we couldn't do for some reasons, but hopefully products are ready, we can dispatch it. So we have some contracts. We expect that we will fly with LUH in case we go along. And also the other helicopter platforms. We're also developing an equivalent of a Doppler velocity sensor, which is an order for one-off systems to be flight tested for LUH, or ALH. So that is in the advanced stage of development. We're also looking at whether this can be fitted into all helicopters. So these are all as an avionics full package with the software domain and everything, competing with the foreigners. So that is in the advanced stage of design now. So we should flight test in the next few months. So like this, we have something going. There are some other programs with DRDO, also for UAVs, etc., where we are getting contracts on communication, on the aspects of radar. We do also to happen. These are all definite contracts we expect. Some of them are also there. I didn't, clearly identify all the contracts or all programs for you, because bit premature now is what I'm thinking. We are trying to address most of those programs where we have competence.
Is it possible to understand, per helicopter, what sort of percentage by value you would be addressing?
I have no clue about the cost of helicopters. I only have an idea of what cost.
150 to 200 crores is what HAL indicates per helicopter for LUH. LCH could be 200 to 220 or something of that sort.
So I think that level of detail we don't want to disclose. And nothing for maybe one-to-one we come maybe we should talk to you.
Okay. And for missile seekers, while you're doing something for BrahMos, two parts to it. One, what could be the associated value? And two, are you also doing seekers for other missile programs? There are a host of other missile programs in the works, MP-ATGMs and very short-range air defense systems and so on and so forth. And, is there something in the works on that side as well for you?
It is all originated by the designer of the missile. The seeker becomes a part. So as long as they include us as part of the missile, then yes, we are there. So it's a decision which DRDO has to take. All along, the seekers have been tied up seekers with foreigners, and they have built a kind of a manufacturing arrangement for selling and PDL. They're doing it. The seekers are not being designed in-house in India. More and more seekers are designed in-house. People like us will immediately pitch in because we have a competency model to build the seekers along with DRDO to build the seekers for them. Today it's BrahMos, and once it is successful, I think we can make many variants of the same thing for very many seekers. Ours is RF seekers, microwave seekers, this is what we do. There are some seekers who are IR and electro-optics, visible in IR. They are at the present moment not there. We may go into this at a later date. But yes, there is a possibility, but I cannot give you like you said, LC Mark II, I can't give you a value content proposition at the present moment. Competencies exist. We need to look at opportunities coming in and whether alignments can happen.
Yes. And lastly, sir, on working capital, you indicated last year that this year we should see some improvement. I believe at the end of the first quarter, we remain by and large the same levels as we closed last year. What would cause working capital to change, and by how much do you expect to reduce it?
So we will expect that this year it will come down a bit. Give it a couple of years' time. The change is happening within the organization and also in the customer base and the kind of orders and markets we're doing. So we are seized of this issue and we are addressing it. I think you will see change as you go along. Again, the cycles will come down, and we're also understanding how the collection cycle happens, and also looking at how to mitigate some of the integration processes which customer wants, and because of which it takes time to make payment. We're trying to address all of them to bring this into some acceptable numbers. Defense, because of government and it's only part of the system we deliver, there is some confusion on the acceptance and when the payment cycle is happening. We're trying to address it. Like I said, we will bring it down in the next year or so. You will see that it's coming down.
Thank you, sir. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we will take the last two questions for the day. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Agarwal from Naredi Investments. Please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, sir, and congrats on good number. My first question, the number of employees has been increased in Q1 compared to Q4 last quarter. Even after that, employee cost has decreased in Q1 compared to Q4 last quarter. So what is the reason behind this? And the second part of this question, how much salary will be hiked in FY2024 and when? And last question, for next future of growth, if you need any extra funding, go for reasonable debt as interest cost you may charge from profit and loss account, whereas raise of equity is always costly than debt.
I didn't hear the last question. Can you repeat the last question, please?
Yeah, okay. For next future of growth, if you need any extra fund, go for reasonable debt as interest cost you may charge from profit and loss account, whereas the raise of equity is always costly than debt.
Okay, I'll ask the last question first. We are not really looking at any extra funds in the next 1 or 2 years. We're looking at a order book, how we want to do. Some of the orders come with advance from customers. So only bank guarantees we are able to address from internal accruals. We should be able to address those requirements and look at. We have some money with bank account, open cash credit, but it's not unutilized. So I don't think we'll be looking at some very large banking funds or outside funds to propel our growth in the next 2 years, as we see. The company generates cash, so we should be in a cash positive. We're not really looking at extra funds, either large bank borrowings or go to public and take shares. So I don't think we're looking at it at the present moment at all. And the second, first 2 questions on number of employees and salary increase. We are looking at scaling the business substantively in the next 3 to 5 years. And this is a very IP-driven business. And you can't go out and recruit people when you want, and have the people and also address the market. We need production, we need training, we need development. So this is an ongoing thing, and we are looking at a future. This company is actually looking at long-term business. They are not really looking at this year's business and building competencies. Looking at product development, which takes many years of maturity model and development and testing. And we have a number of products we have in mind. We want to do this, which India is importing. So towards that, our people, number of employees, etc., will continue to grow. We are now about nearly 1,300 people or more, and we will continue to take people as we go along. We do 2 things. One, because the growth requires this kind of people. Second, also, we are a high technology company. We also, lose people. Attrition happens because this is a high technology area that people we become a training ground for other larger foreign OEMs. We also have to, understand that and build so that we don't have deficiency of people on an order execution. Put too much effort, so that should not be a problem. So we have a clear idea of HR, process of recruitment and training. So that's one thing which will continue to increase. As far as salary is concerned, I will ask Venkat to answer this.
Salary, actually, what is debited in the profit and loss account is after capitalizing 1.28 crore towards the product development expenditure. We have already started product development initiative, what we have taken the money for out of the QIP. So we have capitalized some portion of the salary of respective resources working on those projects which are being developed. So net of that only you are seeing it. That is the reason you are seeing a lesser number as compared to Q4 of last year. And salary increase, we do it in line with the industry practices and the trend.
Hello. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So how much salary will be hiked in percentage term?
How much percentage? See, there are 2 things in this. One is the number of people go up, and then the percentage increase happens. So this is based on our projection about overall. I think our employee cost in the budget, I think it goes up by 25% something.
Overall employee cost is expected to go up by about 20% as compared to last year.
What is budget?
Yeah. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we take the last question for the day from the line of Sajid Yadav from Mount Intra Finance Private Limited. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. So I had a question regarding the DRDO projects. You have already spoken about it a lot. So about 1/3 of your revenue is coming from the development orders. Do we take it that they are going to be single vendor situations, or they are going to be competition when the product is finally developed?
What is that? I didn't understand the second sentence. Is it single vendor situation? What is that?
So what I meant is that when the product is fully developed, tried and tested, so that subcomponent is going to be procured only from you, or it's like again can go on in a competitive mode?
No, what has been qualified by us as a single vendor post first order the accepted practice is that place the order only on the company who has developed it earlier. So that is the practice with DRDO, because it has a lot of certification and development which they know how to do on a production mode. So that's an established process as of now.
Okay. Secondly, can you give us a split between the exports and the domestic market segment, and defense and non, in case you have any non-defense segment split?
We are largely in defense, so there's little bit of space we do, but the percentage is single digit, less than 10%. So our focus is on defense. And this year, like I said, we are also getting some export orders. But I think the export contracts will get executed next year, not this year. Some export will do this year. They will about maybe $2 to $2.5 million US. We execute $3 million this year. So the rest of the contracts we're getting, we should export it next year. Then it will take about a year for us to actually build the product and describe. But as a percentage, if you look at it, it is on a scale, I think about 10 to 12% can probably be the export with respect to the domestic will be larger. We can, as we go along, increase it as we go along. We have some ideas of what we want to do, but the present status is around this percentage.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side. All the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for your interest in participating in this revenue call, the quarter one call. I would just like to close saying that we are very serious about building products for India and scaling the company. Towards that, we have taken care today. We want to build IP, build products, compete with the OEMs, and try to build a capability and a scalable business model in India. The opportunities are large. It's how we develop products and how government and users react to these kind of products of ours that will really determine the fate of where we want to go. We are at the present moment quite bullish, and we're very focused, inward-looking organization, trying to build competency in the business. Thank you all for supporting us, and any questions you have on top of this, you can always approach us to Go India, write to them so we can also answer your questions. On site visit, one-on-one interactions, please talk to Go India. We'll be very, very happy to address all the questions that you would have. Thank you very much for taking this call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.